And we are live. Welcome, everyone. My name is Niki Lopez of Niki Lopez Creative, and you're watching The Circle, where every first and third Tuesday of the month, I'm talking to artists, activists, social entrepreneurs, people doing great things in the world today. And today I have a very special guest and friend, Deon Jefferson. Thank you for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. And so today, while people are hopping online, we're live in a few places. So the Circle is live on Facebook under Niki Lopez Creative. It's on my profile. It's in the Facebook group called The Circle. It's also live on YouTube under Niki Lopez 19. That's Niki with 1K. And after this episode is done, within about a week or so, it gets uploaded to the podcast. So you can find it on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, all your favorite podcast platforms. So today is June 1st, which is the beginning of Pride Month. Happy Pride, everyone. And so just jumping in, I'm going to read a short little bio. We're going to jump in, but I thought it was really nice to have Deon on here as a creative, as well as someone who is out and proud, so we could celebrate all the LGBTQ people and all of the things that we're doing. We have already Richard. Hey, Mama. Hey, thanks for joining us. So, Deon is a creative artist, journalist, singer, and designer. His efforts granted him the opportunity to be a featured employee on the Emmy Award-winning reality TV show Uncovered Boss for Alfred Angelo Bridal. In 2020, Deon designed the entire bridal collection for Gathers and Gowns, a bridesmaid company. He's written for many publications such as SFGN, that's South Florida Gay News, and the West Side Gazette. He's also just directed and curated his first fashion art ball. Woo, that's a lot.
Yeah, right. Your bio's longer.
But you know what? To be honest, just a little, that is also part. I have many reasons of why I started The Circle. And years ago, early on in my journey of like professional art, that's something that I struggled with, because there's a lot of old school that they tell you have to stick to one thing, and I'm a creative. I want to paint, I want to shoot, I want to design, and I had to really get over that. So part of the thing with The Circle is also finding other people who also affirm that we could be creative how we see fit. If we want to have 5 creative hats, we wear, and we can manage 5 creative hats, then let's do that.
Exactly.
If I'm a watercolorist and that's all I do, that is totally fine.
Yep.
But some of us are not in, don't fit into a little box. So, there you have it.
I agree 100%.
Yes. And we have Raquel Lopes of World's AIDS Museum online saying, "You're amazing. Thank you for being here." Yes. So, jumping in, and speaking of many hats, you're multidisciplined. What started the creative journey for you? What came first? Writing, design?
Well, I guess pretty much most of the avenues I like to participate in deal with school. So I guess writing was probably the first thing that I kind of paid attention to. But it wasn't something that I wanted to do. My undergraduate degree is in broadcast media communications. So of course, naturally, you have to learn like television, you have to learn print, you have to learn, journalism, graphic design, so on and so forth. So it was like, that was probably like the best and worst major I could have picked in college, because they threw so much at you. And they want you to be able to be versed in so many different things. But so I guess you can probably say writing. I've been writing forever. I love putting, words together, telling stories, doing the research so I can tell the stories. I like hearing people's reactions to the words. It's really weird. I love writing. So that would probably be the first.
Okay, that's interesting. I've always done graphic design, but I did go to school and have graduate with a bachelor's in graphic design, and that's something that they definitely stressed at the Art Institute. They wanted us to, which I had no problem because I love photography and all those
Yeah,
things. But you had some graphic designer students who just did not like that. They're like, I just came to design. But it's good to
strictly,
get the
exactly.
whole thing because, like, in the day and age where people just pull things off the internet and then all of a sudden somebody's being sued, if you
Yeah,
learn to take your own pictures, you don't have that problem. So,
facts.
and then you're able to really control everything that you're putting in there. So I'm glad that you were able to, benefit from that, tap into that, and have those experiences.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What is something that inspires you when you're designing a collection?
I'm actually working on one right now. So I won't talk about that collection because that one is pretty much that one is strictly the inspiration is money. Um, the company hit me up and they're like, we need a collection that's like saleable, and just not really trendy. So I
Mhm.
wouldn't talk about that collection. Um, Pretty much, I the last collection I did, which was in 2020, the collection was the inspiration was pretty much Halston. He's one of my favorite designers, very popular in the 70s. So I decided to mimic some of the silhouettes and some of the features that he does did with his clothing. So I love looking at inspiration. In college, one of my favorite classes was like the history of anything. So if you put the history of blank 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 in front of something, that was going to be like my favorite thing in the whole wide world. So when it comes to just being a creative and inspiration, I love to go back to history and figure out how things are created. Um, I can tell you why the mini skirt was created. I can tell you why the bathing suit was created. I can tell you when they changed from the one piece bathing suit to the two-piece bathing suit. I can tell you, about Daisy Dukes, and so like there's a history and a start for everything, and that's just kind of like where I like to start when I'm designing a collection. Just go back to the basics.
Okay, okay. And we do have a question. That's a good question. What would you offer young people who are inspired by you?
What would I offer?
Mhm. I guess in terms of it could be advice or direction. And
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I would say, and I say this all the time, the world we live in now is saturated with opinions.
Mm.
It's so saturated. Um, you could be saturated with social media, um, whatever your vice is, like it can be like saturated. So don't try not to get distracted.
Hmm.
Figure out what works for you and do it. It sounds cliche. People do it all the time, but figure out what works for you. People are influenced by social media. People are influenced by celebrities and movies. Those things are good, but at the same time, you need to find out what makes you tick. So,
Hmm. Those are good one. We have Raquel again. Raquel,
hey, Miguel.
I love it. You were a part of an incredible fashion show for the HIV Planning Council. It was such a hit and empowered by everyone involved.
Wow, I remember. You know what? That's so funny you say that because the art ball that I did on May the 8th, it was pretty much mimicked behind that program, the HIV
Mm.
program in Fort Lauderdale. So it was an amazing program. I loved working with everybody, and that was a big inspiration for me. So you guys inspired me. So thank you.
Yes, yes, that's
That's so
awesome.
cool.
What are you hoping the wearer or the viewer gets or feels when they wear one of your outfits?
Ooh, that's a good one. I want them to feel empowered.
Mm.
Clothing can change no matter if you're wearing a t-shirt, your favorite hat, you know, whatever you're wearing, it can transform you. Like for instance, you're going through something. You go to the salon, that hairstyle or that haircut transforms your whole outlook. So like I really want you to feel empowered when you put on my clothing.
Mhm.
You mainly it's for women. So I want the woman to feel confident, and I want her to feel extremely sophisticated because I think my clothing is sophisticated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love, and I know we're going to get to this a little bit later, but the art ball that you just did, I love the variety of women that you had
Ooh.
modeling the outfits. I thought that was amazing. You had different body types, different heights, different skin colors. It was amazing. That's definitely.
I'm smiling from ear to ear because that was all intentional. That was
Mm-hmm.
all intentional. I, of course, as a stylist, in my background being in bridal, I'm trained to, go to Miami or go to Fort Lauderdale and work with an agency and get, a bunch of size 4 models that fit into sample sizes, and most of them are white. But I wanted to get the community involved. I wanted people from the community to be wearing my clothing. Didn't really want to get models. Sometimes models aren't approachable, so I wanted to get people that looked approachable, and not 9 times out of 10, I wanted to get people that I knew, so that way they could be dedicated. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we were just talking about that a little earlier about, when people talk about diversity and inclusion, it's not just a talk, it's intentions, it's who you put on your flyer, who's running your walkway, and making sure that everyone feels seen and represented. And that's such
Yeah.
a huge thing.
Yep, definitely. I mean, like, for instance, let me just be totally honest and transparent here. There was a young lady. Her name is Hay. She's one of my good friends, and I've known her for a long time. She does sign language. Um, she was the and she was the biggest person to audition. We had a
Mm,
casting call. Um, she's a plus girl. She's very confident, so she wouldn't mind me saying this at all. She's a size 26, 26W,
mhm,
and I didn't have anything to fit her whatsoever. So when she showed up to the casting, I saw her body type, and automatically, my head, I'm like, oh, well, I can't use her because I don't have anything that fits her. But little did I know, when she walked, she was the best person to walk. Her
mm.
walk was amazing. She had so much energy. Her spirit was great. Everybody who was sitting there was like blown away. Like, so I had to use you. So I had a dress specially made for her.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I didn't design the dress that she had on. I
Uh-huh.
had it specially made for her,
Hmm.
and we kind of rocked it. She's great, and she also did some of the makeup for the girls, so she's
Oh,
perfect. Yeah,
awesome. Awesome. Who are some of your influences?
I have a lot of influences since I work in so many different mediums, I guess you can say. But I'll just name some random ones. I love Nina Simone.
Mm,
I am in I'm in love with her like mind. That lady is brilliant. And
mm,
I've watched the What Happened to Nina Simone documentary probably 100 times. Just because I love like how it makes me feel.
mhm,
I don't know. I love Nina Simone. She's great. Um, I love Nina Simone. I love Stevie Wonder. He's an amazing songwriter. He's a brilliant musician. He's blind, and he describes words better than people who can actually see.
mm,
So I love how he uses his brain. I love, when it comes to art, I love Jackson Pollock, one of my
mm.
favorite painters, favorite artist of all time. And then I love Keith Haring. That's
Ah,
like,
yes.
if I could marry anybody past or present,
Keith
Keith
Haring.
is the one. Oh my God, Keith was the one. He was awesome. He was so awesome. In fact, before I moved to Florida, I stole a Keith Haring DVD from the library, and I still
Oh,
have
don't
it.
let them come after you, but you said DVD, so they're not looking for you no more.
I'll pay for it. I'll pay for this Keith Haring. Who else inspires me? I think that's pretty much it. Like, I David Bowie, of course, that's
Oh,
your boy.
yes.
I
Yes.
love David Bowie, Grace Jones, like pretty much people who were like, they pushed the envelope and threw
Mhm.
the envelope and burned the envelope. Those are
Yes.
those are people who I love, like the
Mhm.
the fearless, the people who are fearless, you know, like That's it. Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
much it. I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that is again the variety, I think that's important, and and also that you didn't necessarily mention like a fashion designer or a writer or or something
Yeah.
like that, which is good because sometimes we could get locked into like I only paint, I only see painters.
Right.
And when you get to explore the other genres, it actually can impact the work that you produce, no matter what. It doesn't have to be the same genre. So I love that.
Yes. Thank you.
Let's talk about your writing. What type of writings do you do?
um, I do a lot of writings. When I first moved to Florida,
Mhm.
actually, I'm originally from Ohio, Dayton, Ohio. So when I graduated college, I was writing for just a regular publication. I was writing for a black-owned publication,
Mm.
and then I was writing for like a just a regular general publication. I was in Ohio, um, and pretty much they threw any type of story at me. So if somebody was coming, if Justin Timberlake was coming to town, I had to make sure I wrote a story on Justin Timberlake. If NDRE was coming to town, I had to do a story on NDRE. I got a chance to interview NDRE actually. That's
Oh
a little
wow.
flex, and I still have it on my iPad too. So I want to release it, but she's like, "What are you doing?" That was like 20 years ago.
Hey, so what? It's still in the RE. She's still out there
She's
making
definitely still
moves.
out there.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I,
No, but I love writing all type. My
mhm,
college professor, he was like, if you guys are going to write or you guys are going to be a creative, I want you to be able to get a job at any magazine, any
mhm,
publication. I need you to be able to write anything. So if
mhm,
it's a happy birthday story, if it's a cat stuck in a tree, you know, we need you to be able to cover it and cover it in multiple ways in different voices.
mhm.
So I like writing everything.
Yeah, and I think that I want to say that might have been the way we met because that you were writing for a music magazine, and
Yes.
they came to one of my art shows, and then they said, "Oh, I love what you're doing." They sent you out. We talked, and we just been kind of connected ever since.
I don't even remember how long ago that was, but we actually to be honest, like when he sent me the story, I'm like, well, she's not musical at all. Like she doesn't do anything with music. Why am I
I
doing
had an
this
open
story on
mic.
her? You had an open mic
Yeah,
and they
and
were
performers.
drawn. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were drawn to you. I think after then, yeah, I was writing for South Florida Music Magazine, and I was going to different concerts and writing for them, reviewing the concerts. Like I went to Snoop Dogg and Gwen Stefani and Eve and K Michelle, which wasn't really good, but but I went to a lot of different concerts and covered them, and it was great. I miss it. Um, but yeah, I love music. Writing music articles would probably be my favorite if I had to pick. Writing
Mhm.
about music is great. I just did a review yesterday on DMX's Exodus album,
Mm.
so that was awesome. Yeah.
And speaking of music, we have a comment from a musician with a jazz group. What's happening, Nikki? Eric and the Jazzers checking in from Fort Lickadale via the Boogie Down Bronx, sending support and blessings.
Thanks, guys. I love that Fort Lickerdale. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And the Boogie Down Bronx. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I interviewed Eric during April because April is Jazz Month. So he has like a jazz band. He's a jazz advocate, and
Oh,
so yeah. So
that's so cool. I did jazz band in college.
uh,
That was my favorite class in college. Just so you guys know, that was my favorite class, jazz band. Yeah, love jazz.
ooh, nice, nice. Do any current events or other influences impact your work, whether it's writing or your design?
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. For writing, yes, it definitely impacts what's going on because you can easily get us. I do two stories a week.
Mhm.
One is for one publication, one is for the other. But for the West Side Gazette, by the way, short plug, I got that gig because of you.
Oh, nice.
Yes, yes. You sent me something about black writers, and that was one of them. And
Oh,
I've been writing for them since January, just so you know. Um,
awesome.
yeah, so thank you for that.
Wow.
But yeah, I do one for them every single week. So the Exodus review is for them. So yeah, I like to pretty much take current events and write about them and figure out what's going on. When it comes to art, I did a bunch of pieces for like an art show that I have coming up, and pretty much whatever's going on is pretty much the inspiration, or
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, or like a movie that's come out. Like I've been watching the Billie Holiday movies, like is really big in my household. So
Mm,
like I did a piece last weekend that was like dedicated to Billie Holiday, and so yeah, I really like to pay attention to what's going on and kind of and incorporate that into my work.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I also love Billie Holiday as well.
Did you watch the movie?
The old one. I know there's a new one out,
Yes. Oh my
but
God.
with Diana Ross as
Yeah.
yeah, that.
Okay, so I Lady Sings the Blues, that's the old
Mm,
one and I love it, but the new one is it
mm,
for me. That's
okay.
it. Sorry, Diana. Andrew Day shut it down.
Okay,
Yeah, she
I
did.
gotta check it out. I just, I saw that growing up at some point, and I just fell in love with the music and the
Yeah.
movie, and I've seen it a bunch of times. And yeah, so Billie Holiday, Nina Simone, we definitely, well, a few of them that you mentioned we have in common.
Okay, so I definitely have to come over and we can watch that.
Okay, that'd be awesome. And and I know, and you kind of mentioned it a little bit in the. Oh, we have another one, Raquel saying, "I love Billie Holiday too." Oh my
I
god,
love you, Raquel.
yes, yeah. I got a record player.
Oh,
Mm.
wow. Do you have records?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of records, but that is my goal, my hope. Oh, Raquel says she has a record player too. Um,
Dope.
yeah, I have a record player and it's connected to a Bluetooth speaker.
Ah,
So if I wanted to, because I love the sound of record and the vinyl and that little scratch that it makes, it's just
yeah.
I love it.
Hmm.
But with the record, it once it's done, like, oh, I got to get up, because
Right.
piano just goes. So it's nice to have the flexibility of like, let me just go ahead and put it to my Bluetooth if I
For
don't.
sure. For sure. That's dope. I love it.
Oh, Raquel is saying she has a 78.
Dang, Raquel. Wow. She's dope.
Yes, yes. So I know that you also sing, and I wondered if you would be able to grace us with a song, a melody, or something, whether in person or video or.
Um, I have a video prepared. Let's see.
Ooh.
This was actually maybe a year ago with my good buddy. Let me
Mm,
see if it's gonna play. Oh, there we go. Okay, you can hear it? You heard
yeah.
that? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. There we go. All right. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can. Probably could enlarge. Yeah,
Can you hear it?
a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. That was it.
Okay, okay.
Ah,
So,
I can see.
so one of these days when I have the open mic, hopefully.
Yes, I'm down. Please, yes, I'm down for it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
been
down
a
for it.
while. I mean, I have quite a few things coming up. A lot of them will be virtual, but I definitely, that's something I love. Live entertainment. I love live music, poetry.
Yeah,
It's just like, yeah.
me too. Same. Let me know when it is, and I'm there. I love it.
Yeah. And we have someone from the Facebook group. It might be Eric. Awesome, crazy performance. Love it.
Ah, thanks,
And
guys.
Raquel, I like that song. Yes,
Me
yes.
too. She's a sweetie.
Yes, absolutely. So today marks the beginning of Pride, and I wanted to ask, what does Pride mean to you? Yeah, what does Pride mean to you?
I guess you can pretty much say pride to me means standing out, being pretty much unapologetic, but not defensive. It's just being happy with where you are currently, and it's about being able to look back, um, and it's about being able to reach forward and grab somebody and take somebody with you.
Mm,
That's pride.
I love that. I love that.
Thanks. I just wrote that. No, just kidding.
Patent pending, copyright.
Right.
But I love that because it kind of it reminds me of that saying, and I don't know who said it, like the each one teach one. But it's like
Yes.
grab somebody, and sometimes we do hear about like you have someone that has like made it, quote unquote, but not necessarily making sure like once they make it or wherever that it is that they could pull somebody and give that
Yeah.
space. Like you made a step, there's people before us, I mean, Pride started with riots, right? So they
Yes.
riot so we could party.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, and then what's the next generation?
Exactly.
I guess Raquel's enjoying that. She's giving some high fives with that. Yeah.
Same. I'm high fiving too, Raquel. It's like, yeah, you have to be able to pull somebody, you know, pull somebody with you and take somebody, on the same journey.
Mhm.
Um, Give them advice, but don't, shelter them and watch them do their thing. But just be happy. We've gone through a lot, and so much has changed. So I just think just being prideful, it's a sense of gratitude
Mhm.
because there's a lot of people who aren't here,
Yeah.
and we're able to be here. So but that's another story. That's
Mhm.
getting so
No,
yeah.
I mean that's the space. There's a lot of people that's not here, and then the thing is, there's a lot of people that are out and they're happily out and proud, and there's a lot of people that are not out for whatever reason.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes people choose it. Sometimes it's their circumstances, their family, their religion, their the norm of whatever country they're in that they can't be out. So
right.
there was something I came across the other day, and I wish I saved it. I love like little quotes and things like that. But they're talking about like sometimes we acknowledge the struggle that the ancestors or people who came before us had, but it's just like, but also the joy. So
Yeah,
their joys, their triumphs, we get to carry that on to the next generation and add to it. So then, I
yeah.
mean, 50 years from now, who knows what pride would look like? Maybe it will be
Wow.
the normal thing. So
Yeah. Make sure you watch the documentary on FX.
okay.
Yeah, the Pride. It's really great. I watched it yesterday. It's really, really good.
Awesome, awesome.
Really
Yes.
good.
We gotta have a movie now. There's like two movies now.
Yes, for sure. I'm for it for sure.
Yeah. Raquel is saying evolution often starts with revolution.
Ooh,
That
Raquel,
is the word right
I'm
there.
sending you praise hands right now.
Yeah, right. Have you ever had any challenges you've had to overcome by being a Black man or an out Black man as it relates to your work, your artistry?
Yeah, I guess yes, absolutely. When I worked for um, Alfred Angelo, the bridal company, um, pretty much I had dreadlocks or locks, whatever you prefer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they were pretty much, they were nice, like they were styled, but sometimes I felt like I was people only saw me for my hair
Mm.
and not really my talent. Like it was always like a joke about my hair or a joke about my skin color or a joke about my experience. So I felt like I wasn't always taken seriously when I
Mm.
worked for that company. Um, but I just kind of, of course, I never do anything to prove anybody wrong. I never do anything to say, look what I'm doing now. Like that's never my goal. Um, but yeah, I definitely felt like I was treated unfairly when it comes to just certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, how did I overcome it? I didn't
Mm.
overcome that particular situation. That company is bankrupt, so they went bankrupt. So that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I've definitely had to experience, certain things. Just being like Black. Um, my sexuality has almost never has never been a problem for me.
Mm.
I've never experienced a lot of issues when it comes to that. Maybe because I'm tall, my stature, I don't know. People feel like, oh, well, he can't be a gay guy because he's tall, he's big. So
Mm.
it's like I don't get really a lot of people that mess with me in that regard. But um, I would just say my skin color was like the biggest thing.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, but I had a flip side to that. I had a college professor who would tell me like, you have something in common with somebody in the room. So whether they're not the same color as you, same gender, sexual orientation, whatever, you can find something in common with that person. So
Mm.
it's just your job to be able to not let their biases distract you.
Mm. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, and and the sad part about it, well, you said not you haven't had any experiences with sexuality, but sometimes people who are homophobic is because they're closeted,
Yeah.
and so part of that attack is because they have shame from their own their life that they're not in some ways or so, and like it goes back to when people say when people have an issue, it's not they have the issue, it's
Right.
their thing and they're projecting it onto you and making it a problem.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Raquel's like so true. Yeah, yeah. In your opinion, what is something that may be missing during Pride or the conversation around the LGBT community?
What I would probably say is there's not a lot of emphasis on the history. They
Mm,
just they just have it like, oh, we're having Pride, and I was ignorant to the fact of Stonewall for several years. you
mm,
know
mhm,
so it's like they just have it like Pride. It's like, okay, well, my mom spent a lot of time in Atlanta, so she would, like, as a kid, she would tell me about, like, how they go hard and they party and they have a good time. So I never knew exactly what it was for. So they don't I mean, I'm not sure, there may be some people that's doing a good job, but me personally, I don't feel like there's enough education
mhm,
on the history. And I told you I love history, so um, that's just something that I feel like we don't do enough of.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, there is a lot about, and every now and then you'll hear people say it's not just the parties, but it's definitely about the history and why we're there, and it is important to know. Um,
Yeah.
because I'm all about the history. I'm all about history. Absolutely.
Same.
Hmm. Yeah.
Same.
If you don't know history, you leave it, bad parts and good parts, but bad parts a lot of times can repeat itself if you don't know what those things are, you know?
Yeah. There's so many. I'm like, even just yesterday, just watching the Pride documentary, I'm like, ugh, I'm like kicking myself in my bed. Like, there's so much I didn't even know now. Just being a 33-year-old guy, I'm like, wow, how do I still not know this?
Mm-hmm.
How have I not been exposed to this information?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's definitely the history for me.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to talk a little bit about. So I know you recently curated and produced your first fashion ball that was centered
Mhm.
around mental health. Why was that? Well, I guess first, can you give us a little background history of like what inspired you to start that ball and what was it about?
Sure. Well, I had this really good friend named Steve. He's super awesome. He believes in me. Steve is great. He's super supportive. He hit me up one time and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna sit on this Zoom call for a grant." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I think you should apply as well. He was like, "I read the descriptions." He was like, "I think it pretty much just suits you. It just says Deon on it." So I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll go to the interest meeting." It was via Zoom. So I went to the interest meeting and I'm like, "Oh, this is cool." So I'm like, "Let me just start a YouTube show." So they said, they'll give you money, a grant, write the proposal. So I'm like, "Oh, good." I was toying with the idea for a long time. I'm still toying with it. Don't know
Mm-hmm.
how long I'm gonna toy with it, but to start some type of YouTube show for content. Um, when during the call, they kept saying, like, words stick out to me. So they kept saying, like, we want something innovative, something that's not been done before. So they was like, if your program has been done before, you're probably not going to get picked. So I'm
Mm.
like, oh crap, YouTube show, everybody's done that. So while I was on the call, I'm like, just kind of revamping and trying to think a different way. So that's when I kind of just came up with like a quick little concept to be able to include art, fashion, music, and any other type of art. So pretty much, I did the grant, wrote the proposal. I was awarded the money to have the event. I had to use the money within a year. I think I got I'm just looking at the check right now. I got the check like July of last year.
Mm.
So I wanted to, when I started to like sit down and figure out what was going on and how I was going to plan it and do everything, I'm like, I think I should have it in May because that's Mental Health Month.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know a lot about mental health. Again, I was ignorant to the fact um, about like the entire umbrella that mental health is. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, Be Well. I should say. I guess I should say their name. They're super awesome. Be Well PBC is where I got the grant from.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're a community initiative, so they fund events all the time. Last month they did like Get Your Green On for mental health. So
Mm.
pretty much that's why I came up with the idea. The program had to be geared towards mental health. So I wanted to like incorporate myself, like the fashion and the music, to kind of marry the two ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay,
yeah,
well, that kind of answers a little bit about like what was it, the importance of mental health. But I also love that more and more people are starting to pay attention to mental health and let go of a lot of the stigmas of mental health, or talk about whether it's their own personal journey, or just talk about it's important. Like
yeah,
we have this norm about multitasking and overwork and all these things. And like you said earlier, with social media, everything's like overwhelming and coming at us, and we don't talk
yeah,
enough about needing those spaces, and or the benefits of talking to a counselor. Or sometimes you go through all these mood swings, don't even know that you might be bipolar or have depression or PTSD or anything.
exactly, yeah. And then I mean, I didn't even realize that like Alzheimer's, like anxiety, these are all things associated with mental health. Of course, it
Hmm.
affects your brain, but naturally, if that's never been something that you've dealt with, you won't even, kind of put two and two together. So I'm like,
Hmm.
oh wow, didn't even know that was a mental illness.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Raquel is saying Naomi Osaka, the tennis player, because she's catching
Yes.
slack because she was just like, I need a mental health break.
Yep.
And I think the last I saw that she's being fined like $15,000 But it's sad because, we don't do that enough. Like,
Yeah. Nike is supporting her though.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, that's definitely something that's really important to me. And, I share some of, my journeys and struggles and, challenges and growth
Yeah.
with that. But also how art, is a tool. It can be healing. It could be expressing, because a lot of things that we just have just sitting there, when we could be getting it out, and
Yeah.
so I think it's really, I love that was a focus, and I love that more and more people are starting to explore that, and I also love that you said that even though you didn't know a lot about it, you still was like, well, how can I do this? And include other people that, hey, I don't have to know all the answers. Someone
Right.
had some answers. You got some answers. I got some this. I got some that. Just put it all together and we have a thing, because, I think that's something too that people don't know, and so they don't move, they don't have action, they just kind of stay there, and you're like, hey, I don't know, but this sounds like a thing, and let me try to learn about it. And
Yep.
and I think that's important to kind of know it. And I'm, kudos to you for doing that and taking that on.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. It was I must say it was difficult to plan just because we're in like COVID.
Yeah.
So like that's weird. But but God gets all the glory because everything worked out really good. So and thank you for coming. I was like,
Absolutely.
there's so many of my friends were there. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe so many of my friends are here. Like literally, I'm like, there's so many of my friends, and a lot of them were like from Broward. Like, you guys traveled to come see your boy.
Yeah, I did. I'm like, okay, this is for show, and you're,
so blessed.
I think it's important, and I also try to make a point of supporting people that support me. Like, not only that, like you've, come to stuff, so outside of the capacity, like, okay, yeah, I'm writing an article, but then you come and showed up and been a part of things. And so wanted to be there to support you on your first journey of, taking something like this on, but also the importance of that, right? Because May is mental health awareness. And so it was it was worth the drive. It was worth the hike.
Good. I'm so glad. I was so happy to see you. I'm a little upset Marley didn't come, but that's fine.
I know. I think he was with his dad that weekend. And sometimes like he's so like, because he's so used to like all the art stuff. Sometimes I'm like, oh, come to this thing. And he was like, no. I know you're not going to be a little time, a short time. You're going to be there for a long time. Let me talking to people. Like,
he knows.
Is there Wi-Fi? Are there other kids? What's their ages? Do they? I'm like, okay, that's a lot.
Too much. This is too much.
Yeah. He's doing the most. Yeah. Raquel is saying, I wish I could have gone. And I think, is it still up?
The exhibit was actually extended for 2 weeks, so it was supposed to be over in May. So you have 2 weeks to go look at the exhibit. Yep.
Okay. And then will it be up anywhere virtually or pictures or something at some point?
We do have some pictures up on my Facebook page. So we're actually working on, myself and Karina, we're actually working on like kind of like a part 2 to the actual ball. So we should be coming up with a video sometime soon.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely worth checking out. What is something that people may not know about you that you're comfortable sharing?
I would probably say that I go to the beach every day.
Oh,
sometimes twice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love, and my favorite time going is at night. Like when I leave here, when I leave the call, I'm gonna take a book, some libations, go to the beach, and we kind of hang out. it's an awesome experience. Just like
Hmm.
be one with nature, and like it's windier at night, so
Hmm.
like you feel more of the beach experience at night. So I love it. I'm
Hmm.
a helpless romantic.
Yeah. She says, so do I. Raquel says she, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah, I love the beach. I haven't gone every day. That's awesome, and then
Yeah.
it's just soothing.
I live really close too, so yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I ride my scooter. I have a scooter, so I ride the scooter to the beach.
How can people connect to you, support your work, see what you got going on?
Well, you can go ahead and follow me on Facebook. It's just my first and last name. Yep. And then on Instagram, it's Deon, my first name, dot C Jefferson. And then my website. My website is my first name, DeonCJefferson.com. So yeah,
Okay.
that's where you guys can find me. Hit me up.
Let me see if I could pull up the
Website. Oh, I actually have. I think I can pull it up.
yeah, I have it here. So we're gonna drop it in there real quick so people can follow.
Yeah.
DeonCJefferson.com, and I'll also put it in the comments.
Cool. Thank you. So awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, so on Facebook and on YouTube, you'll see in the comment section the link to get in touch with Dion. And I know Raquel was asking, do you have a mailing list? I don't know, or
A
email.
mailing list? No, I don't. But I would probably add that section to my website.
Hmm.
Um, so thank you for that. Little
Hmm.
tidbit. Thank you for
Yeah,
that. Mhm.
absolutely. Oh, we have Erica. Hey, Nikki, great news as always. Oh, thanks for enjoying the show and joining us. So, um, Raquel said, I'm old school.
That's okay, Raquel.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Do you, well, we talked about mental health, and I know you mentioned the beach, but do you have any self care practices?
I do. I have a lot. Um, I one of the biggest ones is I like to practice gratitude.
Mm,
So I believe that my mom used to do this all the time as a kid, and I never really just understood it. But I always say, "Thank you, Lord, for waking me up this morning."
mhm,
So that's something that I like. I always say because it just shows gratitude, and it's muscle memory. So you have to remember to do it. Sometimes I write it on my ceiling, so that way when I wake up in the morning, that's the first thing I see, and so I'll just naturally say, "Thank you, Lord, for waking me up
mhm,
this morning." Um, I limit the time I'm on social media. Some people think I hate social media, but I don't. I like it. I think it's good for what it's worth, but I
mhm.
think you shouldn't overindulge.
Yeah.
So I limit the time I spend on social media. Um, I like to read music. I have to play some type of music on a daily, whether it's and I don't do like singles. I like albums. I'm old school Raquel, so I like albums. So I'll put on like an old school album, and that's like good for me.
Mm,
Another thing is I talk to my mom every day,
mm,
every single day. It's not a day I don't talk to my mom. I don't. I keep my circle of friends really really small. It's like so small, so that way you don't have a lot of distractions.
mhm,
Um, you don't feel like if you don't go out with your friends because you want to do artwork, you're not missing out on anything. It's just so
mhm,
a lot of friends, a big crowd could be a big distraction. So I just try to, you
mhm.
know, keep the amount of people I hang around with very, very small. And then of course the beach. So those are pretty much it. I'm very simple.
Yeah, that's great.
Very simple.
Erica is saying gratitude is everything.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Old
I
school
read
is the best. Yeah.
There's a book that I read a little while ago. It's from Farnsworth Bentley, and the last chapter, I think it's the last chapter, is called "The Magic of Please and Thank You." like the word please and the word thank you. So I believe that you should always show gratitude by also saying thank you, you know, please. Those are also forms of self-care. Watching what you put. Oh, I don't watch the news at
Mm,
all.
that's a big
At,
one. Yep.
at all. You have to watch. Like self-care is about watching what you put into your body, not about just food.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't watch the news, and it's a total mockery of my degree because my undergrad is in journalism, but
Mm,
I don't watch the news whatsoever. It's again a lot of distractions, a lot of opinions, a lot of biased opinions. So
mm-hmm.
I don't even go there because it can. And also watching the news, like you wake up in the morning, instead of you saying thank you Lord for waking me up this morning, you turn on the news to see what's going on, and it's a fire or a mass shooting, and that messes up your whole day.
Mm-hmm.
So I just try to watch what I put in my body.
Mm. Yeah, that's awesome. And especially when you're talking about like having a small circle of friends. I think, not I think, because there's definitely statistics to back it up, but social media blurs the line of what friendship is. We think
Yes.
likes are friends until we're going through something and realize, oh shit, I don't have no friends. I thought they were
No
all my
friends.
friends. I have 100 likes on this post. Nobody's asking me how I'm doing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think last week, um, when we were doing the Zoom call for the school in Chicago, the artist residency in Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
they were talking about like the way you portray yourself on social media, and I don't get personal on social media. I used to back in the day, a long
Mm-hmm.
time ago, but I don't get personal on social media. Um, the most probably the most personal I'll get is like happy birthday to somebody. That's it. But if I'm sick or if I have a headache or somebody pissed me off, like I'm not gonna take it to social media because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I only want to put my art out there. That's the only intention. Like if somebody dies or passes away, that's not the attention I want. I
Mm-hmm.
want the attention to be on artwork or something I'm promoting or something I believe in. So
Mm. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, that's good stuff. I love all the different layers. And I also have something on my wall too. So years ago when I was trying to get my son to be comfortable sleeping in his room,
uh-huh.
because he, just like wasting that room away. And I did all these, great like empowering words. And at the time, um, the therapist, my counselor that I was seeing, I told her about it, and she said, "Oh, you should do one for yourself and have him help you." So a few years ago, um, when I was going through a really challenging time in my life, and I was like, "Oh, you know what? Maybe that's a thing that we could do together." And so he helped come up with some of the words. And so on, like my bed is one area, and I could look at the closet space, and so that whole wall around the closet, I have all these words, and they're all affirming words, you know.
Oh,
And so I don't do it every morning, but
right.
I definitely make a point. If I get up and I'm feeling down or going through something, whatever have you, I make a point to force myself, to push myself to read through those things. And also, like you said, when you get up and if you go to social media versus going to gratitude or something like that. So that's kind of like my little check in, my little time of like affirming myself, to read those words that I wrote, that my son
That's
wrote.
good.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. I love that because you can forget.
Yeah.
Naturally, you just forget. Like, oh, I
Mm-hmm.
got something else to do. But if you see it, it's like, oh, okay, let me actually sit down and like pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you. And we have Grecia is in the Facebook group. She
Hey,
says,
girl.
thank you, Nikki, and having for having Deon C. Jefferson as your special guest tonight. Love the way Deon is keeping it real. So talented, yet so humble and down to earth. Yes, indeed. Gratitude is definitely the key to happiness. Happy Pride to you both.
Oh, you're so cool.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
nice. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you had access to a time machine, where would you go and why? Past or the future?
I would go to the past. I would go to the 70s.
Mm.
Absolutely. I want to be in the time where, you know, you're wearing bell bottoms and there's afros and there's a revolution going on and I want to be in the midst of that. So
Hmm.
I love the 70s.
Oh, I
Yeah.
like.
And disco. You get to be in disco.
Oh, I love this.
Yes. Studio 54.
I love the disco. I was just telling that to a friend over the weekend. I said, I used to go to this disco party when I was in Atlanta. She was like, "How old are you?" And I was like, "But I love the music." I was in Atlanta and someone hit me to this club that played disco music. It's like the early 2000s. And oh my God, it was so much fun. I just feel like, you know all the words because even whether you're from that era of time or your parents are, there's a certain familiarity and it's danceable and it's fun
Yeah.
and it's like high energy. Oh gosh, I love it.
Love it. Love it.
We gotta watch
Love it.
some movies. We gotta have a disco show.
Yes. Actually, I went to in Ohio, like right before I moved here, they had an Andy Warhol exhibit at this museum. And to
Oh,
commemorate the exhibit, they had a Studio 54 party.
mm,
Best party I've ever been to in my life. Hands
wow,
down. Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. And we have, I think this might be Grecia again. Those were the days, disco days. Yeah.
Right. That's right. You jive turkey.
That used to be Okay, let me stop before I age myself. But I'm 37.1 for the record, for the social media webs.
Point one. Got it.
Yeah. So Marley assigned my age last year. I was 37. I said, "Am I still the same age?" And he said 37.1. I said, "Thank you. I'll take that. That's why you're my favorite son."
That man is so smart, man. So smart. I need to go
Yeah.
to him for advice.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. He's a character. So, so yeah, this has just been such a pleasure to have you on and just chatting with you. And, there's some things I know, and, I always love learning different things. So it's just like, I like to, that we're able to talk about some things I didn't know about you. So that's really great.
Yeah. You are, I mean, I just want to say this. You are so fire. You're so fire. And you know this. You know how I feel about you, but I just wanted to publicly share this. This girl is fire. I've known her for, I don't know, probably like 6 or 7 years. I don't know. But she's always been super supportive. We became fast friends. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like you don't just have somebody, some random black guy come to your home and like sit on your couch and we're drinking coffee, talking about cats and artwork and just you're
Yeah.
so humble. You're so dope. I love the way you engage the community. Like, thank you
Yeah.
for always, asking me, giving me anything. Like, thank you so much. Like, the
Oh,
community
man.
needs a Niki Lopez. So
Uh,
definitely keep doing what you're doing. And I cannot wait to see what all the awesome work you're going to be doing for the rest of this year.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. And I'm waiting to see your next ball, what you got going on. So, and maybe collaborate. Especially since now that you're doing events and programming and things like that. So,
Yeah. Well, actually, remember I was telling you about the Black Lives Matter thing before we got on this call?
mhm.
That is, I'm actually I'm working on that right now. It's not a grant, but I guess a stipend. So I'm working on that right now as we speak. So I'm definitely going to hit you up because I need support from the artists from Black Lives Matter. I need it. I have to have it. We're going to get a drum circle. I have a bunch of guys that
Well,
do the drum circle. So
Grecia is with Feminine Africa. She's an amazing drummer.
oh, she okay.
Yeah,
She she yeah. I saw on Instagram today.
hmm
Thanks, Chris. Yeah,
yes,
cool.
yes, yes.
So yeah, definitely. I'm always, trying to, collab and figure out how we can do stuff. We have we have a shoot that we need to do because you want to do like a whole sexy vixen type of thing. So we're gonna definitely do that. Get you out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I'm open to it. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
taking pictures. Even if sometimes when I'm taking them, I'm not fully comfortable, but I do like
right.
to explore, and then I have the whole blink side that sometimes pops
Yes.
up.
Yes,
so,
I love Blinks. Oh my god, Blinks is awesome.
so, um,
Well,
thank you.
yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
Nikki Rock. Somebody said it. Nikki Rock.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so if you're in the Facebook group, The Circle, it doesn't show the name. So I try to check into it.
Oh,
Oh, this must be Grecia. Thank you for Feminine Africa mention. Hopeful sister Nikki will be a part of it.
yes.
Yeah, she had me doing some drumming on a drum workshop, a couple.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm so for it. So for
Yeah,
it. I
yeah,
can't wait.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So.
So
Oh,
this has been awesome, amazing.
yes.
Again, this is Deon C. Jefferson. You could find him on his website, deoncjefferson.com. You could also find him on Instagram. It is a new Instagram page because, sometimes things happen. So if you get there and it looks a little ghost town, that's fine. We just got to like the page, build it back up,
Light it back up. Light it back up. Oh,
light it
it's so
back up.
sweet.
Yes. Yes. So that happens. You could also find him on Facebook. Definitely, check him out. The links, they're in the comments, they're on the posts. He's definitely someone to follow. Love, love, love his energy. Love what he's up to. Love all the things. And I can't wait to hear you sing live one of these days because I've been seeing some little dance videos, but I was like, okay, I don't want to put him too much on the spot. So
Also, and before we go, a little shameless plug. There's an art show for Pride this Friday at the Arts Garage in Delray Beach. So if you guys are in Florida in Delray Beach, make sure you stop by. The opening reception is this Friday from 6 to 8, and the artwork will be on display all month. I have 7 pieces.
awesome, awesome. So yeah, if you have the link send it to me or the flyer because what
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
do, I'll put the link under the comments on the
perfect.
Facebook and on the YouTube. And if you have a flyer, I'll share it out, as well.
Perfect.
So
Okay.
yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
So thank you all for for being here. I see the people who are on live with us. Raquel, thank you for being my co-host with the question. I mean, it's a podcast, but I love the live aspect because it gives other
Yeah.
people the opportunity to ask a question directly.
Yep.
To my guests, and just bring a whole nother layer of the conversation. So it makes it interactive. So I really appreciate all the questions, the comments, the feedbacks, all of those things. Thank you so much for those things. For people who's going to watch this or listen to this on the replay, thank you very much. We're here every Tuesday. Sorry, not every Tuesday, the first and third Tuesday of the month. I'm talking to artists, activists, social entrepreneurs, people that are just moving pebbles and mountains, and because all that work, all of
Yep.
that makes it different. Every ripple helps to increase that wave of a positive energy, of motivation, of inspiration, of movement, of
Yeah.
impacts, of change, of connectivity. So I just really love being able to share so many wonderful people that I know and some people that I don't know, exploring them with you as well. So This has been The Circle. If The Circle is brought to you by Niki Lopez Creative, as well as What's Your Elephant. What's Your Elephant is a movement that uses the arts to create safe spaces to talk about anything unspoken. And we do that by way of art shows and workshops and interactions and talks. And well, today is June 1st. There's a lot coming about to drop from What's Your Elephant this year. I'm doing a special partnership with the YMCA. Also with a grant. It's going to be What's Your Elephant workshops and talks and art making connect around 4 lenses of social justice. So please stay tuned for that. Also, the annual art show is coming up in July, August. But this time it's going to be with a twist. So there's going to be a series of What's Your Elephant focused on different LGBTQ issues. And that's going to kick off July, August, and culminate in 2022. So I'm hoping Deon can be a part of the collaboration for something there.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
But yeah, if you
know what I want to talk about.
Yeah, we could talk about it. If you want more information, you could go to what'syourelephant.org. You could also go to Linktree/Niki Lopez 19 for more information, to buy a t-shirt to support, to see what's happening. Lots going on. Let me take one last comment. I see you should interview a park ranger during COVID. We did a lot. Oh, okay. Well, if you're suggesting yourself, I can send you the link. So yeah, I haven't had a park ranger, but I'm definitely open to bringing a park ranger on and seeing and talking about it and hearing about what you do and, the importance of that and sharing that with the community. So absolutely. So this again has been a wonderful, wonderful evening. It's supposed to be a half an hour show, but the energy was there, people was there. So I'm just really grateful that everyone who stayed online to the end to rock out with us and get to know Deon. Please consider sharing this video, sharing the podcast. Someone in your network might be an aspiring writer or a designer, and you could be that jumpstart for them to get their stuff out there to the world. So any final words from you, Deon?
I believe George Clinton once said, "For your mind and your ass will follow."
I like that. I like that. And on that note, Erica said, love it. Oh man, we have too much fun here. So again, thank you all. This has been The Circle. My name is Niki Lopez. You're talking to Deon C. Jefferson. I will see you all in a few weeks. Sayonara.
Good night.